Okay. I'm going to do just one cable and see if that works out. If not, then actually, no, it's good. Let's do that out right out. Sweet. Okay, so thinking about being, a DJ if you want to get into it. I guess the biggest thing that you probably want to figure out. That white noise is terrible.
What?
I guess what kind of DJ do you want to be? I'm not sure if you guys knew that there's different types of DJs. Did you know that?
Sure.
What does that mean? I don't mean like, EDM DJ versus like a metal DJ. Metal DJs do exist, by the way.
Yeah.
And they're freaking awesome. This is going to be so loud, and I'm so worried about it. Let's see, what was the last thing I DJ'd last night? Let's find out. Shut up. You're fine, you're good. You're good. Alright, hold on a second. I gotta turn this up just a teeny tiny bit. Actually, let's take you down. Take you down by like a quarter.
Everybody got your hands.
I've never actually made that sound, the sound that everybody does when you make it with your mouth. You're just like, you're it. I've never actually done that in real life. Hooray! Yeah, that's for you. You're welcome, Zenkaikon. So there are different types of DJs. You have your like festival DJs, you have your mobile DJs, wedding DJs, which also can be mobile DJs. The biggest one that a lot of people tend to start out with is, and this is an actual term in the community, a bedroom DJ. Well, what does that mean? Pretty much you're somebody that hasn't played out just yet. You're sitting in your bedroom or studio, whatever you have, you're making mixes, you're putting them on SoundCloud, Mixcloud, whatever, right? So you can absolutely move through all of them. You don't have to stay just one. Like you don't go, oh, I'm going to just be a bedroom DJ and just stay there. If you have the desire, the need to want to move forward, you absolutely can. So that's kind of the biggest thing. I kind of feel like everybody kind of starts out as a bedroom DJ. Not everybody goes, all right, I bought the gear, I got the music, now I'm getting paid, thousands of dollars. I'm up, the nightclubs in Miami, I'm just killing it, just up on stage, making people get sweaty and buy drinks. No, it doesn't happen that fast. So that is like number one. So once you figure that out, obviously you got to figure out, well, I need the gear, I need the stuff. If you have a computer, laptop, you already have the biggest tool at your resource right there to start DJing. You can get yourself any number of DJ software. The biggest one that everybody pretty much uses is Serato. There's also Rekordbox. Rekordbox is Pioneer specific. Pioneer is one of the companies that produces a lot of DJ hardware. Who went to the rave last night? Anybody? No people?
I dipped in for a bit.
Okay, so my friend Kenzie Black kicked off the whole thing. I don't know if you saw the really big, nice setup that she had. She had a CDJ setup with a like independent mixer. That is like a pro setup is what they call that, even though the industry seems to kind of be moving towards more of an all-in-one controller style setup, which for me personally I think is a better option. There's more you can do with that type of setup, but that's just me personally. So the software, looking at Serato, looking at Rekordbox, you can also do virtual DJ. Virtual DJ is a really cool one.
Yep.
These programs typically have a free version. Virtual DJ has a free version. Now theirs is a little weird. If you use the free version, you technically cannot play out with the free version because after 15 minutes, the program shuts down. So I just want to let you know. But if you want to get a good solid like 10-15 minutes of practice in and then reboot the program, you can definitely download a virtual DJ. There are some free softwares out there. The one that I really like is Mix. It's MIXXX. It is a like Linux-based open source DJ software. It's fully customizable too. It reminds me a lot of virtual DJs like setup. They're very, very similar. So that's a really good one. I know there's some other ones out there, but those are kind of the ones that I've messed with in kind of like my journey of figuring out everything. Another really good program, if you want to pay for it, is Algorithm DJ, which is actually what I run on this setup. They, for the longest time, were only Apple products, but a few years ago they did open it up to PC users as well. Because originally it was just an app for iPad, iPhone, all that stuff. So I don't know if you guys have seen mine. This is my favorite rig. I bring this thing freaking everywhere. It's got all my music on it, but this has an iPad actually in it.
Nice.
So when I'm hitting like the "My name is Awesomus Prime,"
My name is Awesomus Prime.
that is in like a touch screen on here. I'm gonna load that sucker.
We'll take it.
I'm very sorry. I wasn't
Yeah,
trying
you
to like blow y'all's eardrums out.
You good.
Apparently the volume does not. All right, we're not gonna touch those buttons, but yeah. So that's so now you got your software. You figured out what you want to do. Now you need music. I feel like it's a little bit more difficult nowadays because the way that we consume music is very different than the way we did it 10, 15 years ago. We had things like iTunes. We had, you know, different downloadable services that we actually would pay for the music and download it to our devices. Now everything is streaming. Now the cool thing is the DJ industry has seen that this is kind of the movement. A lot of the softwares actually have streaming services attached to them. So if you pay for like Spotify Premium, I believe, who is it? I believe it's Serato. Is it Serato? No, Algorithm. If you pay for Spotify Premium and you have Algorithm as your software that you're running, you can actively DJ with the entire Spotify catalog. As long as you have internet. As long as you have a connection, you have access to everything. So if you're the kind of DJ that likes to, you know, play requests for people, but you'll hear DJs that are just like, no requests, we don't do that. So some DJs are like that. I will to an extent. If I'm in a groove and I see the crowd going, you know, ham, I'm playing a lot of like really cool like 90s hip hop, and I have somebody come to me and they're like, yo man, you know, it'd be really cool, like Journey. You're right, but they're not drunk enough yet. And I just started an hour ago.
Yeah.
Give it an
It's
hour.
out.
Give it an hour before you play the white people national anthem.
You know what's funny? So that and Sweet Caroline, I call my drunk test. So if I'm DJing at a bar, I actually get on the microphone even if I'm at a bar, and I'll be like, hey, you know, I just want to see how drunk y'all guys are. And they're like, oh, we're drunk. And I'm like, well, we'll have to find out. And I'll hit play. If everybody starts singing, you might need to get cut off at that point. Just letting you know. So there are streaming services that are attached to a lot of the softwares. But if you already have music already on your device that you're going to use, that's a good place to start. It's always good to DJ the music that you already like. I can't tell you how many times I've had friends of mine that are like, oh, I got into DJing, I just downloaded like all this stuff, you know, because they want to play like the big festival stuff. Everybody wants to be out there like, yeah, you know, and I get it. Because that's what we see, that's, you know, what we want to, you know, imitate, all that stuff. But start with what you like. I started with like Skrillex. Like legit, that was who I was messing with when I first started DJing. I loved Skrillex. I loved all the dubstep stuff. And then I started getting into more dance music, a lot of your techno, electronica, house music, all that stuff. The cool thing with that, and this is just my personal advice to you, if you want to mess with beat matching, which hopefully I don't run out of time, I like to bring people up here to try to beat match up here actually.
Nice.
The house music, like BPM, for those of you who don't know what BPM is, it's your beats per minute.
Yep.
Very, very crucial thing to pay attention to when DJing. That 120, it's like 126 to like 130 BPM range is very, very, I'm gonna say easy, but that's not the term I really want to use. It's a little bit more comprehensive to beat match with because you get what we call the 4-on-4 beat. That's that boom, 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 boom. So, you know, you got the heartbeat on it. It's already there. So as long as you can match those kick drums up, you're pretty much solid. You're good to go. And then from there, there's more things you can do. You can manipulate, you know, the EQ. You've got your, you know, your high, your mid, your low. You can take some things out, make them louder, different effects and stuff. So that's what you can do there. So definitely start with the music that you definitely already have and enjoy. And if you want to be like an EDM DJ, you think you want to do these big festival parties and kind of mess around with that stuff, maybe download a couple tracks. There's a really cool DJ that I follow on YouTube. His name is DJ Carlo Entendido. He does a lot of amazing tutorials, so if you kind of feel like you've been bitten by the DJ bug, go to YouTube, check out his channel. Tons and tons and tons of amazing videos to help you get started, from beginner level to advanced level. This dude is amazing. The reason I want you to give him a follow and kind of watch his videos, a lot of times when he's showing you how to do certain DJ tricks, in the description of the video, he gives you a download link to the music that he used in the video for you to literally kind of go along with it. So that's a cool way to kind of get some free tracks and stuff. You know, I don't know if they're like full-length tracks, but I mean something, you know, kind of get you started. So now you've got your music, you got your laptop, you're like, cool, I can DJ off my laptop. It's a lot of the programs you can do with the keys and everything, the mouse. But you want to get into something like this. Cool, let's go. You don't have a lot of money. That's okay. Some of them ain't that expensive. The real big ones, a couple thousand. I have one that I bought. It's actually sitting in my car right now. I'm gonna bring it out. And it's big. I don't feel like
It's a Sunday now.
all right, it will almost be great. So this is an expensive thing to get into. I was gonna say like hobby, but to me it's not a hobby. I literally do this full time. So hobby, career, thing to do. It can get very pricey with all the music that you're gonna buy, the gear, the software, all that stuff. So just be aware. I would just let people know, you know, oh, I want to be in a band. Cool. You want to be in a rock band? You want to be a guitarist? Cool. Shit. Go drop $600. You have a guitar, and then you get your amp, and then from there you're pretty much good until it breaks, or you have to replace the strings.
Or you get into pedal boards.
And you go, oh, you get into pedal boards? Oh my god, yeah. And there's so many freaking effects you can mess around with all that stuff. But with like DJ equipment, like this is a big time investment, and you're gonna get this thing, and this is gonna be your instrument for the longest time. And it's like, that's how important it is. So DJ controllers, which are the ones that run off your laptop, they start from $100. It can go up to like $700, $800, depending on the build, how many bells and whistles you want, how big you want it, what it connects to, things like that. When this particular controller first dropped, it was $400, which to me is an amazing price for a controller. I feel like $400 is kind of like the mid-ground for a lot of controllers, especially like intermediate to advanced controllers. But then they have other ones that are cheaper. So companies to look at for your hardware. Numark, N-U-M-A-R-K. That's a really big one. That's actually what this is. I already mentioned Pioneer, which is just P-I-O-N-E-E-R. Their logo is red. It's kind of cool looking. It's a little, you know, futuristic in my opinion. Pioneer is kind of the industry standard. They're the ones that pretty much invented the nice big setups, your CDJs and your mixers and all that stuff. So if you're, you know, the kind of DJ who's going to a gig where the hardware is already provided for you, that is, you know, what you're most likely going to be messing with is going to be Pioneer gear. So those are like the two big ones in my opinion. You also have Hercules. Hercules are built really solid, and I'm really impressed. They've kind of stepped up their production. They have some amazing controllers at a really, really great price right now. And I'm a little mad that I didn't get into one sooner. I want to get my hands on one, but sometimes I kind of have to outweigh, like, do I want to buy another controller? Because I own 3 right now. So I'm like, do I really need another one? Like, maybe I should sell one of the other ones and then get into one of those. But yeah. Gemini is another one. Gemini is a little bit on the more affordable side. In my opinion, Gemini makes decent hardware, but it doesn't live up to the same quality as like Numark or Pioneer or Hercules. That's just, from my experience, what I've seen. So those are like the real big ones to kind of pay attention to. There's some other companies out there that you'll find. There's some that don't exist anymore, like Vestax, which makes me angry because Vestax had freaking amazing controllers. So if you're in the markets to try to find like a used controller, which I was gonna actually get to that point. If you want to save some money, definitely go out to like, you know, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, if anybody still uses that. Anywhere that you can get, you know, secondhand stuff, take a look. You know, you might be able to find something that's actually fairly affordable. Do kind of check out the specs though of what's being sold, because some of the controllers are so outdated that they won't work with some of the newer software now. So just kind of be aware if that's a thing. So your controllers, if you're looking into, okay, let's do this. Up like $100 to $400. You can definitely look into Newmark. They have a really great series. The lowest price one is the Newmark Party Mix, or Party Track, something like that. It's tiny. It's like this big. It's got little disco lights in the front of it. It's cool. I always tell people, like, if you're, like going to college and you want to throw like room parties, or like you're getting invited to do like fraternity, sorority parties or whatever, like that might be something cool to have. You don't have to, get the whole big production. You got the lights on the front just for something, and it has everything you need. It's got your cue points on it. It's got your faders on it, tempo fader. It has like everything in a small little package. So that one's good. The Mix Track series from Newmark is the one that I would recommend for anybody that definitely wants to get a little bit serious about it, but doesn't want to drop a ton of money. They usually run from about 200 to about 400. There's different series. I think we're up to the Mix Track 3 still, and now I think there's a Mix Track Effects. They're all really cool controllers. They look very similar to the one that I have up here, and they have everything you need to pretty much get started. The cool thing is a lot of these hardwares, when you buy them like brand new, they'll give you a code for the software, kind of like right out the gate, so that way you have it. Because like Serato has Serato Lite, which I believe that one is still free entirely for you to use, and it works with the majority of like intermediate/advanced controllers. Until you start getting the bigger crazy ones, that's when you're going to need a Serato Pro, because Serato Lite will not work with those types of controllers. So keep that in mind depending on what you're thinking about buying. So I really like the Mix Track series. For Pioneer, you've got the DDJ series. If you look at like the DDJ Rs, the R stands for Record Box, which is Pioneer specific software. That's a free software, but it only works with their stuff. So I believe the DDJ R3 might be the newest one, at least that's the newest one I remember. It's a mid-sized controller, about the size of this. Same thing. It's very similar to the Mix Track series that Newmark has put out. So my recommendation is kind of stick with those two companies for your first out the gate. Hercules has some really great stuff, but I haven't really looked at Hercules enough to really see what is comparable to pretty much what everybody else is kind of using. So I know that they have stuff that is, same size, all the bells and whistles, everything you need, which works really well. But I don't know what their price point is or what the models are, so I do apologize. So here we go. Got your music, got your software, got your hardware, spent a little bit of money. Cool, let's go. Now I want a DJ. Sweet. Well, now you just got to get to it. You got to practice. You got to figure out, how to make everything flow together. Because really, that's what we do. Our job is to throw a party, to make everybody keep going, but to kind of give that that fluid motion to the music. You want everything to kind of move in and out of each other. I don't know why you thought. That's great. To keep that vibe going. And like I do have a tendency to sometimes stop a track, to talk to everybody, but that's just my style. That's how I do it. You guys do not have to mimic me. I also feel like that doesn't always, that style might not work for everyone as well. I did go to college for theater, so I'm a professionally trained actor. I have like improv ability and all that stuff. So that's part of the reason why I have fairly good like public speaking ability, and I can get on stage and be like, "Yo, what's going on?" Woo-hoo, and just make up something dumb and funny to say real quick. I have that ability. Now, I'm not gonna say I'm really great. I'm not like a comedian on there. Even I kind of realized the other day that I feel like that's my DJ style. I'm like a comedic DJ. I don't know if you guys have seen me enough to maybe agree with that, or you're like, nah, you're fired, shut up.
Okay, it works.
Because I think it's kind of, because I want to throw a party that makes everybody have a great time, that they just enjoy themselves as a whole. And I feel like laughter really is important to just human existence. There's a level of just, good bodily things that happen when you are happy. And smiling, even just the act of smiling, if you don't feel happy, will produce moves. So I'm already giving you kind of an amazing time dancing around, having a blast, and to make you laugh in the process, that's awesome. So that's what I go with. Does anybody have any questions so far? I feel like I've just been kind of rambling on and going on. If you don't, that's okay. Cool. Talk too much.
25
Oh
after.
man, I feel like I blew through almost all the information that I need to like go through with you guys. So let's talk about this. I usually never go this far with this panel because it's kind of like a DJ 101, but let's go here. You got the skills, you got the music, you got the hardware, the software, you're ready to go, you're ready to get. How do I do that? Easiest way is simply just go to one of the venues. Go check it out, see if they're in need of a DJ, see if they have DJs, and talk to somebody. You know, find whoever might be the point of contact and say, hey, I'm a local DJ or whatever, you know, I would love to come play for your establishment. Cool. You can definitely do that. Now that sometimes can take a little bit. You might not have like, you know, the credibility really, because some places they really want to see what you have to offer before they even consider you. So one really cool thing that you can definitely do is make it a sample mix. Make something for them to listen to. You know, you can put it on Mixcloud. Mixcloud is a free website for DJs that want to just put their mixes together and put them on out there. I like it because it allows you to, you know, put these really nice long DJ mixes that you're working on there, and they have an automated track like program that'll automatically listen to everything, and it'll list the track and the artist for you, which is really cool. Unless you're like me, you're DJing with music, you know, that you made from people that don't really have like a following or anything like that. It's just, you know, I found like a really cool Rick and Morty remix, but like it's unknown artist. It will try to find something. But that's a cool way you can do that. Set up a link and give that to the venue owners, club owners, bar owners, you know, promoters, whatever. Now let's say you've been doing that for a while, and you've been doing that for a while, and now you're getting discouraged because nobody wants to hire you. You think your journey is over. Nobody wants to hire you as a DJ. Oh, always be more like it. Well, big advice that I actually got when I first started was make your own events. I'm not saying you got to plan like a big crazy rager. You don't have to do that. But maybe just put together a backyard party for you and your friends. You know, you got a really cool deck or something, go ahead and rock out. You want to do a house party, do that. Block party, do that. With that though, it does come with needing to have your own sound setup, which you can either rent from an audio company or like Guitar Center. Guitar Center does rentals for like audio equipment, top speakers, just like these guys. And you don't need a subwoofer unless you really want it. If you're doing like really bass heavy stuff though, I actually would recommend getting a subwoofer because you're not going to have the same level of experience with the music you're projecting out. If you're doing stuff like dubstep, deep dub, drum and bass, kind of those like things that rely on your bottom end. Excuse me. But yeah, you can do that as far as trying to get gigs, or maybe see if anybody in your family or friends have birthday parties. They might want to throw a party, have a DJ, quinceañera, sweet 16s. You know, if people are willing to hire you to do those things, that's a good way to start kind of building your like career as a DJ. So that kind of goes into the pocket of mobile DJ, and I realized I'd actually explain what that is. A mobile DJ is a DJ that owns all of their own audio equipment and transports that to every gig they do. A lot of wedding DJs are also mobile DJs because they bring all the audio equipment. There's very few wedding venues that will have all that stuff already set up for you. They do exist, but they are kind of the minority as I can't speak today. So that is probably the easiest way to try to get yourself out there, do gigs, you know, throw your own parties, stuff like that. Because it's like, if you can't get a gig, make your own damn gig. Just do the thing, right? Go out there and just conquer it yourself. So that's the biggest thing. If you want to get into like festivals and like these bigger type like events when you feel that you're ready, a lot of that stuff relies on EPK, which is an electronic press kit. It's kind of like a website that you create that shows you who you are, your bio, a sample of your work, maybe some video that you've gotten from a gig or anything like that. And you can send that to promoters, find those festivals, They are a little difficult to get into, especially if they're the bigger ones that are getting people like Steve Aoki or Skrillex is still doing stuff. Those are usually national like acts and events, so sometimes even trying to get as an opener for something like that can be very difficult. But it doesn't say you can't try. You know, you never know. Things could happen. But you know, check out like some of your local festivals that exist. If you guys want to get into like the nerdy scene, like you know I do, I just found out there is a festival in Ohio called Geek Out. Their application for this year has closed, but if you guys start DJing and think you're ready to play out and you want to do something like that, I think their application usually opens in the winter. So you can go to the website, check that out, and you know, apply. They don't pay, but they do offer, I believe, a food stipend, at least for this year, I know this is what they're offering, food stipend, and you get a campsite, a place to camp for the weekend, since it's one of those festivals. So, or if you guys just want to go attend, just to see what it's like. They're cool. One of the stages they have is a pirate ship, it's the pirate stage. They actually get shanty groups out there singing, which I love that stuff, so I think it's cool shit. You're like, yo, EDM and pirates, let's go. It's like my life, right? Buddy Sonic X, good friend of mine, also fellow Twitch streamer, watches me do my stupid pirate stuff. So yeah, so gigging is obviously the next step of, you know, what you want to do. Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
For going into the creative process and things, I'm wondering, with the wide range of electronic and various sound effects that you can do and all these other add-ons that you can make, as a DJ, do you run into the 4-chord song problem and the repetition and people sounding a lot like each other? I mean, last night we even said like, oh, this kind of reminds me of this, and it sounded like that. I mean,
right?
Are those the outliers where you can make those connections?
You know, it's funny. I think as a DJ, that's almost a good thing. Just because if you have tracks that sound extremely similar, you can create these really neat mashups that your audience isn't even going to know the song changed. You know, so it's almost like you did something so clever, so cool that you were just like, I'm a badass. Because nobody has any idea what I just did. I actually kind of did that last night for anybody who's at the rave. One of my 2 favorite songs to do a mashup live with is Animals and Bad. Because, and I've practiced it so many times, they are in the same note range, but they have the same vibe. They're very bass heavy, like drops, and they just work very well. That I can go back and forth with the crossfader and kind of like that's really, really cool. So that's something that I do. But yeah, to answer your question, I do run into that. When messing with those tracks, absolutely fine. Would I do an entire hour of the same type of like thing? Probably not. Just because without any type of like change up, without any type of something that catches your ear, I feel that people are going to get, you know, not bored, but it's just going to get like, it's just normal sound at that point. You kind of just checked out, you're like, it's the same. So how many times have you guys been out to the bar and, you know, the jukebox is going and it's always the same music every time you go, every weekend? How many of you even pay attention to the music? The music's just on, right? So unless somebody changes it up, like let's say, you know, we're doing classic rock, hell yeah, let's go. You know, we're doing Skinner and the Eagles and the Journey and all that stuff. But then somebody walks in, puts their money in, and they're like, Biggie. That's a flip. That's a big change up, you know? Like, so like if that comes on, you're like, yo, now that caught your attention. And if you like that song, now you're hyped. You're like, yo, and that's a really neat trick too for the bartenders. Is now you're gonna buy more drinks because you're like, yo, Biggie's on, shots, let's go. It happens all the time. So, yeah, I wouldn't get stuck there, but definitely use it to your advantage. You know, definitely use it to your advantage. Especially if you want to do something clever and you find that there's 2 songs of 2 different genres that are very similar, and you have no way of kind of either mashing them up or moving, you know, together with them, you can do something really, really cool like that, which is why I think a lot of remixes remixes exist. You know, you get things like Paramore, EDM remixes and stuff like that, because it's your favorite song that you already like, but you want to have that club experience. And, you know, like if I put on Panic at the Disco, and you like Panic at the Disco, you're probably going to lose your damn mind. Because it's Panic at the Disco the way that you like Panic at the Disco, but in a completely different way. Which is why remixes, I think, are so important and really, really cool. Sweet. Anybody have any questions? Anybody? I want to ask me a question not relating to DJing stuff. I was opening up to that towards the end, so we can do that. I think that's probably the coolest thing, or the most information that I can give you for all of that. Definitely want to play around with this for a little bit. I pulled this out to show you guys this little badass. When you DJ at like bigger events and stuff, and they have the equipment provided for you, the easiest way and the lightest way to travel is a flash drive. Woo! Get the flash drive. You're gonna have to format it to FAT32, because that's the format that all the stuff reads right now. Hopefully, in the near future, they're gonna get away from forcing you to have to do that. But still, for right now, whatever flash drive you get, format the sucker, and then you can put your music on it. Now, you can't just take your music, drag and drop, and throw it on there. What you need is you need one of these programs that runs off the software that's programmed into the CDJs. Most of them are going to be Pioneer, so the program you're going to want to use is Rekordbox. Rekordbox, like I said, is free to download. So what I have to do is I have to open my laptop, I have to make a playlist or whatever I want, with all my music in it, make sure it analyzes everything, and then I have to export it to the flash drive. And from that point, everything is on here, so when I pop it into the USB port on the actual decks, my music is right there. I can pull it up on the screen and everything. This is my favorite flash drive. I was watching a lot of like, what's the best flash drive for DJs? Like, what do you got? This sucker is called the Survivor. It's on Amazon. I think this one I got like 30 bucks. They can be more expensive because there's different sizes, obviously. This thing is water resistant and shock resistant, which is part of the reason I got this thing. It's built really solid. So it comes in this tube. It's got these little rubber rings on the end for the shock resistance, and I literally unscrew it. Come on. And that's fun.
Nice.
So, and then for my personal little flair, I add a little keychain to it. That's my waifu, that's Sailor Jupiter. So, I love Sailor Jupiter, she's my favorite.
What's max capacity on that?
This one in particular, let's see if it says it. I forget, because I fucked this up. See that? They're so tiny. I cannot believe it. This is probably a 256 gig.
Okay.
No, but the cool thing with music files, they're not very big.
Right.
You know, so you can definitely fit a lot. So, you know, if you're planning to have a massive library, because we collect music all the time. We're constantly getting new music. So then when you finally, you know, you've been doing it for 5 years or whatever, you look into your library, you're like, why do I have 3 million songs? I'm probably not going to play like 75% of these things. You know, especially if you're doing weddings mostly. Weddings are interesting because people tend to want to hear the whole song at weddings, and they want to hear the original. You're working with a couple, and they specifically say, or you ask, hey, do you want remixes of the songs? And they say yes, by all means, go for it, knock yourself out. When I do a lot of weddings, I still mix and blend between tracks because I don't want that lull between, you know, music. Because even if I start the song right at the end, I kind of feel like there's something that's a little bit more special if you come out of the song and blend it right into the next one. And that's just me personally. The funny thing is I've actually talked to a lot of people that do that, and they're like, I wish more DJs would do it that way for weddings. And I've even had wedding couples that I've DJed for come up to me and say, thank you so much, you're a badass. You were one of the best wedding DJs you've ever had because you didn't just press play every time. You know, so that's not a bad thing, but for me personally, if you want to kind of like hone your craft or whatever, like blend. Blending is like key. You know, that's really like the I guess kind of the bread and butter of what being a DJ really is. I didn't talk about scratch DJing only because I typically don't scratch. I know how to do a few things, but I am not a scratch DJ. I do not consider myself that. If that's something you want to get into, there's definitely tons and tons and tons of YouTube tutorials on how to do that. If you happen to live in the Philly area, I know there's actually DJ schools in Philly for scratch. So that's something that you can do as well. That's something you want to get into. I think scratch DJs are amazing. I think they are skilled as hell, and I wish that I could do half the stuff that they do. I'm just not there yet. I've been practicing a little bit. For me, I think it's just another skill that I acquired to allow me to add a little bit more flavor and, you know, just kind of that ear candy to it, you know, because like if I scratch into a track, especially if I'm doing hip hop, if you scratch into a track and you're doing like hip hop stuff, like people are expecting that to happen. Now, if you can't do it, like don't kill yourself over like, oh man, I'm a hip hop DJ, but I never scratched. That's okay. You don't have to. You know, there's nothing against not knowing it, but it's always good to just learn new skills to keep growing and going forward. Something like that. Cool. Any other questions? No? All right, cool. How much time do I got?
This is 12:40.
12:40, 20 minutes? All right. Forgot to talk about the headphones. You need to shush. Shushies. All right. I don't know what tracks I want to make you guys mess with. I'm going to give you something simple. Hopefully. Yeah. We're going to do some EDM. That sounds good, right?
Yeah.
Let's go.
That's good.
That sounds good. All right, let's do. You know, I'm gonna let you guys mess with my tech house stuff because I feel like that's probably the simplest. Where's my playlist? Where you go? I got to see. Talking about too much damn music. I don't know how many playlists I have on here, and I keep adding new ones to keep myself like organized. But then I have to like scroll through literally everything.
God damn it, Bobby.
Oh, that was Bobby. All right. This controller I really like. If you guys want to get into this sucker, they are really hard to find. It is the Newmark iDJ Pro. If you can get your hands on one, they run I think about 250 to like 800 right now because it was such a solid freaking controller. And Apple pretty much screwed over Newmark because this is an iPad 2. After iPad 2, they went to the Lightning plug. They literally produced this controller in conjunction with Apple, and literally like 6 months later, they dropped the new stuff with the new connector. And Newmark was just like, WTF.
Sure.
Like, you could have let us know. Because I actually was talking to one of the reps at the DJ Expo in Atlantic City last year about it. I was like, damn, because I love this controller, but you can find it. So if you have an iPad or an iPad 2, or you can get your hands on one and you're slowly going to get the software, which you should be able to because I believe DJ3, you can still get on the older models. If you want to get into it, you're good. Now, the cool thing is, though, if you want to use a newer iPad, you can. It just won't fit into the unit. If you get a newer iPad, you just got to get the adapter to go from the 30-pin connection to the USB-C now. And then what I've seen a lot of people do who have this, who upgraded to the new stuff, they'll actually get one of the like tabletop iPad holders and stick it here like a laptop like stick. So they have that there, connections in, and it still just runs off the algorithm DJ, just like normal. So I'm gonna give you guys kind of like a different experience with this. Who wants to try their hand at beat matching? Both of you? All right. You come up first. I'm gonna let you guys all. We don't do. Come on. I'm going to show you on this web here. Should be good. Should be good. Should be good. All right. So this is your crossfader. The crossfader, if it's over here, it's going to be on deck 1. Over here, deck 2. If you want to just leave it in the middle, you're more than welcome to. But whatever you play is going to come out. Right. Okay. Some people have the crossfader set up differently. Scratch DJs usually do it backwards. If it's over here, it's for deck 1. If it's over here, it's for deck 2. I don't like it like that because I'm a Scratch DJ. Yeah. So with deck 1. We've got it at 120 BPM. The one over here looks like 128. So you want to be able to beat match that. So there's 2 ways to do that. The hard way is you can actively use the crossfader to move it to the BPM and try to lock it in. Or you can use the dreaded sync button. Those of you who've ever seen DJ stuff, DJs will talk about the sync button and say, oh, don't use it. Shut up. Use it. It's right here. Okay. So if you push that, it'll automatically match it. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and reset that. So you can go ahead and start this track first. And this one should be queued up. Yeah. All right, cool. So, see how we do? Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got it. I'm not worried about transitions, but you got the BPM right where it needed to be. Yo, round of applause. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Absolutely. Heck yeah. No, you're good. All right. So your crossfader? Yeah. One's over here, it's on deck 1. Over here, it's on deck 2. It's in the middle, so it's your head. Okay? So this is your like BPM thingy where you can adjust sync buttons right here. That's the I'm actually going to let this one go
Whatever you want, man. I like the biggie wood because it doesn't come in like strong right off the bat. Let's do. No, I freaking love this song. Yeah. Let's go. All right, we'll kick it off. Next. All right, crossfader.
Okay.
Cool. It's over here. That one.
Yep.
Over here. Back that two. I put it in the middle.
Gotcha. Nice.
So however you want to start for the BPM, you can manually do it with this song.
Okay.
Or if you want to just hit the same button on this controller, they are different controllers.
Gotcha.
You do that here like that too. So I'm going to start here. It's like 127. So
Gotcha.
When you see us with the headphones, we're listening to the track we're about to go into. That's how we do that. So if you want to use them, you should be able to hear from us. I like this song. I didn't play this one this weekend with Matt. I forgot about it. 10 minutes? Alright. Who else wants to do it? Alright, we can do it.
Esto se jodió, la vecina no sé qué bebió, el vecino no sé qué prendió, a la gente no sé qué le dio, pero todo el mundo está loco, todo el mundo está loco, todo el mundo radio del loco.
Crossfader, take 1, 2, in the middle of the play. We'll start you actually. So that's the BPM there. You can manually adjust your wrist. That way you match what you want.
Oh, we gonna do some Rick James. Rick James! We're gonna do some Rick James.
Nice.
I'm gonna keep the biggie track because I like the biggie track. Cool.
We just do crossfader. Deck 1, deck 2, in the middle. Speakers up.
Yeah.
So this is for your demo. So if I move this. So
There is one way to do it. You'll have all your knobs at the bottom, right at the skater, is your wanna do it? Come on up.
No, we're gonna.
Throw your hands in the
Good finish.
Going for a minute. I was thinking.
Yo, listen. Those of you who tried, you guys are awesome.
Thanks.
I'm not saying you won't get it the first try, but to kind of give you an idea of, you know, the simplest, to me, I think beat matching is like the number one thing to learn how to do. Number two would be blending. And after that, it's pretty much, you know, just expanding what it means to blend and mess around and stuff like that. So, that's
Nice.
it's funny to see where Dom's just coming from. Let's just do this. Wow, that's
Yeah.
really good. Thank you. Yeah.
I was looking at the BPMs in here.
Here, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you did right. You did it right.
Nice.
Does anybody have any questions about anything? I got you. Anything you want to ask me personally about how I got started or anything like that?
What made you want to start DJing?
Yeah.
I've always been into music, like my entire life. I played instruments like my entire life. I started with singing and everything like that. For me, what it was is I was in like punk bands and stuff. Like I was from Colorado, so like I have like pop punk music that I recorded and stuff. But it's really hard to bring a bunch of people together of like mind to kind of continue, you know, to do a band, you know. So what it was for me was that I still wanted to do something. And I was like, well, what can I do that's solo besides, you know, rap, hip hop? Because I'm not really a lyricist. Now, yes, I can technically rap. I do have a verse in one of Heroes for Hire songs that I got to perform this weekend with them. So yes, technically I can, but I do not consider myself a rapper. So I was like, well, if I was wanting to get into DJing, let me give it a shot. So I actually had my iPad already, and there was a Christmas sale for the algorithm DJ software. So I bought it, I think for like $3. Normally it was like $12.99 or whatever. So I got it for like $3 over the Christmas sale. And I started just messing around with it on the iPad. Because if I take that out with the program, I can actually DJ directly off the iPad. Like I can, so I didn't even show you guys this with this program. It's like, where is my, oh, it's in. is called a jog wheel, by the way.
Jog wheel?
Didn't tell you guys like the parts of this stuff, because I wanted to actually have it up there. So it's not like the record or whatever, they're called jog wheels. But with this program, I can actually scratch on the screen. This is cool thing about this thing. But yeah, so I kind of messed around with that, then I found out about this controller, I bought it, and I just pretty much kept going from there.
Nice.
So yeah, that's my quick story in a nutshell.
Nice.
Yeah. Anything else? I'll answer anything. Whatever.
Thank you.
Thank you.